Hello everyone and welcome to the International Racing League's biggest event, the US 500. This event has been around since the early 1970s and has been held on Memorial Day weekend to honor the ones who have fallen serving for the United States, thus the name US 500. Usually we've had a large turnout of US drivers, while the international drivers ran the Indy 500. Or European drivers to be more exact. However, the rules have kind of switched, with the international racing becoming more global, and CART, the people who run the Indy 500, has gone more American. Of course, in 1996, this race was changed to a night race to avoid conflict with the Indy 500, and we've had some drivers attempt the double. However, starting in 2015, the International Racing League has put a ban saying you cannot run both the Indy 500 and the US 500 after Nick Loudfinger had a horrifying accident caused by dehydration and exhaustion. With all that said and done, let's take a look at your starting grid. On the front row is a Universal Motorsports lockout of Pierre Lamont and Nathan Ormond. Their teammate Carlos Rodriguez failed to qualify due to mechanical failures. Row 2 are two drivers that have had horrible years so far: Randy Thorne, the reigning champion, and Matthew Evans, who won at Los Gatos. Row 3 has Viola Links never won the US 500, but has won everything else in her short time in the series, and UC Roelke is an Independence Trophy driver. Row 4 has Inge Harrison, the hot shot rookie, and Evan Carson, who always does seem to do well in these ovals. Row 10, two debutants: Ivan Panders for Scandinavia Sport, and Lucian Yushin for Jordan. Row 6, Giovanni Blair makes his first start of the season driving for his own team, and Batah Hotep makes it the first time an Egyptian runs the US 500. Row 7, Brendan Bull and Priest Hodges both making their debuts. Hodges is driving the car that Agzin and Lukashenko would be driving, though we now know the situation in Russia. Row 8, Matan Stitton and Beyond Varley making their first US 500 starts. Stitton is the American Racing League regular, while Varley runs Love Series in Europe. Row 9, Jesse Knotts and Jarrett Jackson. Both drivers looking for a little much more this year. Row 10 has Baguette Regazzoni in the 20 car for Roy Inc. Regazzoni was supposed to be in this car well before he was signed to Ferrari. However, the Larry Meyer scandal has kind of thrown things over the place. That's something we forgot to mention. Regazzoni is the first non-gender conforming driver to start a IRL race. He did that in Chicago, and he's the first to start one and start the US 500. Bob Smithley is the brother to Ace Smithley. Row 11, Mikhail Sokolov making his first start of the season. James Cathcart won a little bit more. Row 12, Ace Smithley and Edmund Berlund. Smithley's team boss, Rich Roy, failed to qualify, while Edmund Berlund's teammate qualified in the row behind him. Jake Bennett and Devin Butler both won a little bit more. On row 14 has David Basin and debutant Gorganov. Gorganov, his team is so underfunded, they're using one of Ivan Carson's old pitch signs. Row 16 has Kaylee Zappa making her first start in the US 500, letting the Queens back after being suspended from the round of Los Gatos. Row 16 has the Independence Trophy leader, Dolores Mazurgal, and the person in last place in the Independence Trophy, Tessa Wolff. Grid Chief Kevin James said that Wolff has a lot of good race pace, so he's hoping that will shine during the race. Row 17, Sully Souza and Ryan Rickshaw. Rickshaw's teammate, Ryan Raber, failed to qualify, so most likely Raber's out of a ride next season. The last two cars to time themselves in on time, get themselves into the race on time, is Tim Courtney and Trent Courting, I can guarantee you, was upset with where he had qualified, and Stashton, this is his first start. Row 19 has the first cars to race their way in. Brian Simpson won the LCQ. That's a Sierra Motorsports car. That is Papyrus Motorsports' GT program. Chris Regazzoni, this is the LCQ is the first session they didn't have an engine failure. Casey James and Everett Masana both struggled in time trials, did well in the LCQ. And on the last row of the grid, Mela Cook and Kevin Iannelli both made their way in. Before we got going, Nate Ormond had a flat tire and had to pit the 24. Meanwhile, his teammate, Pierre Lamont, led the field to the green flag for the US 500, and Matthew Evans moves to the outside of the front row. Good start for everyone except for that red car, that's Patah Hotep, in 239. Hotep didn't get going, but everyone else looks like they did. I think Hotep missed a gear. Lamont's gonna get a push from the Thorn and Harrison as they fan out down the back straightaway. 3 wide and possibly 4 wide background as Lamont leads him into turn 3. Everyone's clear. Harrison making a move on the Thorn. I don't think the Thorn saw her. And at the end of the lap, the first lap will be the run out of Pierre Lamont. However, there'll be 4 wide for second between Ling, Harrison, the Thorn, and it's Ivan Panders. Panders making his first start of the season. He's basically good. He's basically the second driver since Borgen Daniels didn't qualify. Sokolov making a move for the lead fairly early on lap 3. Sokolov mainly runs in Europe. He is of Russian ethnicity, but since the Russian war in Ukraine, they're well, he's not using the Russian flag. We're looking at Ryan Rickshaw's teammate Ryan Raver didn't make the grid as Gorgonev and Bennett popped the lead for a little bit. Basically, Team Star USA, if you don't qualify for the S500, you're not back next. Here's the crash behind them. That's Brendan Bull, who was on his side, sliding through the infield. I think Baton Stitton got a piece of it. Giovanni Blair's going to take the lead coming to the caution. Here's what happened. Baton Stitton, Brendan Bull, and Lenny McQueen all make contact. 3 wide doesn't go too well. Both into the wall, and they shoot across the racetrack and collecting Cook, that's Regazzoni, both Frank Walker cars, Bob Smithley, and I think I mentioned Mr. Regazzoni. Here's Brendan Bull's on board. 3 wide, not gonna, or that was 4 wide, excuse me. Didn't work out so well. They pinched into each other, and everyone was able to climb out of their cars in these incidents. See, Bull didn't collect anyone else. Here now we're looking at Patah Hotep. There's an accident coming back to the caution. See that yellow car? That's Baton Stitton. He's making his first start in his Independence Trophy. Stitton just lazily comes back up the track and clips himself off the Tessa Wolf's car, and Tim Korting, Varley, Illusion Yushin is on the wall, and Patah Hotep all go to the wall and out of the race. Hotep goes for a few rolls. You're really not paying any attention. He's running to the back of Korting. On board with Hotep now, entering turn 2, entering turn 3, and now turn 4. You're gonna see Varley shoot up the racetrack. That's because of the contact between the 12 and 37, and Patah Hotep goes for a wild ride. Awesome. All drivers in this incident were also able to climb out of the cars with their own power. And we're going to board of Lucian Yushin. Yushin's Independence Trophy for Jordan, who's a kart team. See that's Baton Stitton comes to the racetrack, clips the 37's front end, and goes for a ride. They did want to talk to the spotter of Stitton after the race. You can see the 239 going for a wild ride. Under the caution, that is James Cather taking a step at Jake Bennett and into his employee. So Bennett's going to come back to the pits and start repairing some of that damage. This caution helps the Orban get back on the lead lap after he wasn't off the lead lap. He was close to being a lap down. Giovanni Blair leads the field back to the restart. Goria Gorgonev, as I mentioned, a very underfunded team. His wife tried to qualify, but she didn't make it. Got knocked down in the LCQ. Kaylee Zappa is in the 3rd car line in Rickshaw, and that 193 car was the winner of the LCQ, Brian Simpson. He's going to be back for the round to Quebec in a few weeks' time. Everett Masana started, I think, in the back row of the grid, or like the second to last row of the grid, row 20. She's now making a move on Blair, and easy does it. Blair shoots off to the high side, and Everett Masana to the lead in that Toyota. The Toyota factory cars have been lightning fast this year. Another driver has been lightning fast in her limited starts. Dolores Madrigal, the Colombian, for Disney Motorsports. Madrigal gonna help from Rickshaw, who then looks low. He's got Casey James behind him, who will also start near the back of the grid. Still a lot of cars near the back of the grid, avoiding the chaos known as the lap 1 melee. 4 wide for second now, and these guys need to be careful, considering what happened not too long ago. Jackson is that 48 car on the inside. He's an Independence Trophy driver, and he's done good when his car isn't failing him, which isn't often, which is a shame, really, because Jackson's done really good job. Oh, contact with Son and Rickshaw on the wall. And that's another caution. 13 laps into this race. This is the 200 lap event, and so this is going to be a long one. Looks like Rickshaw bounced off the 57. That shut him up the racetrack. Evans, Blair, Rigazzoni, Simpson, Zappa, Orman misses it, and others. Here's Giovanni Blair's view. Look at the helicopter cam. Yeah, the 84 makes contact with the 57, but shoots him right up the racetrack. You can see Cathar's in their car in it. These two are going to slide across the infield, and nowhere for Riccoli to go into the 58, and neither does Stinton or Zappa. And Blair goes for a wild ride. Thankfully, he was also able to climb out of his 58 car. Here's on board a Cieli Souza. She was way back from this. See, there's the caution light. She's fine. Kevin Ironelli has some damage from that first incident. And high side, yeah, everybody across on the high side. There's the contact, and Ironelli disappears there and collects Nate Ormond. Request Hodges with another car involved in the incident. Here's UC Oroki's on board. Oroki not too far behind the main group of crashing. Avoids the first one pretty well. That's Catherine and Brian Simpson. But unfortunately, Blair just comes up wrong place, wrong time. That was a vicious hit. But again, Blair was able to climb out of the car under his own power. Jesse Knox took the lead after pit stops. This time we had no pit stop shenanigans. Jackson and Pierre Lamont behind him. Lamont's teammate, Ormond, didn't take much advantage of being back on the lead lap, or back in a shot to win this race. As you notice, Chris Hodges did not get going. Jesse Knox did. Knox, the only remaining team rocket car in contention. I should bet that because I think Cathar's still running around out there. Heavily damaged. Casey James back, and Trent Stashin, that 26 car, both started near the rear of the field. They're making their ways to the field. This is Stashin's first start, by the way, and he's doing a great job. Ivor Pan, is there any? Actually, no. Orman is still in this race. Looks like he went out. Orman on the inside of the three of them, and they make this work. And that's how you can go 4 wide without running into each other. No, the rest of the field, mainly Rickshaw, Bull, and McQueen, and Stinton, who has already established he has a lack of spatial awareness. Harrison currently running third. She's been so close to her first one so many times. In fact, she could probably won the round of Arizona if her teammate didn't hit a banana peel or sled on oil. Ormond will have second that lap. Ingy Harrison gonna have the third line, and take second coming to the back straightaway. Nice clean move, and is gonna clear the 24. So Jesse Knox still holds the lead after a few laps. Now she's got to deal with Mikhail Sokolov, who's the only independent motorsports car still in the race. Danny Marca, who is the points leader entering this race, failed to qualify. Bennett ran into the back of him earlier. That caused some damage. Bennett's still posting competitive lap times. He's just a few laps down, which is a problem in the grand scheme of things. Pierre Lamont's been running a front all race, and so I don't think it should be a surprise. Side by side entering turn 3. Sokolov still he has no hope, and he's doing his best. They're going to split the lap car with Kaylee Zappa, who is the only Audi still running. Audi's having Swift Motorsports is having a horrible year. Zappa got hooked by someone, but that's going to cause a bit of a jam up behind them. Sokolov to the inside of Jesse Knox as they are now that he's clear each other. Now both sides are having help. Lamont's been pushing that 70 car as much as he can, but the 70 does not have the run. Harrison's going to get behind the 57, and Mikhail Sokolov to the lead. The Russian leading his first laps of his season. Now Harrison's going to get to work on the 70, and this is going to be easy done. The catching lap car. That's Requise Hodges, who's off the pace, holding his line like he's supposed to. Now he's moving up the racetrack. Harrison just cut off both the Universal cars, and we have another crash. Harrison, Mears, use them. She just chops off both Universal Motorsports cars, which sends the Panders and Nate Smithleon stashed and nowhere to go. And Harrison's upside down in a huge hit. I think someone clipped the 26. Gorgonev's involved. Zappa nowhere to go. Bennett gets through, but Harrison's hopes to get her first one out of the race. On board with Randy Thorne, who was a ways behind this thanks to Kaylee Zappa earlier, who was holding a line. Just sometimes you just can't get around the lap cars. As you can see, big chunk into 26, and that is Nathaniel Lasitis calming down his driver. And they are able to get that 13 car back on the racetrack, and there's only 19 cars left running. We're on lap 33 of 200. Patience isn't a thing they teach anymore, apparently. Sokolov takes the green flag. Knotts tries to get around him on the restart, but that's not going to go too well. Hodges is slow again. We really need a better minimum speed rule in this series. Sokolov, too, is going to try to pick up the 11 in the draft, and Ling is going to have a run on Jesse Knotts. And, well, that's that. Sokolov holds the lead on the back straightaway, and these, you can see Magical and James not too far in the background trying to catch up. Ling having run the race leader though. Ling is third in points. She sees a perfect opportunity to capitalize as Rich Roy, Raver, and Marco are not here this week. Or they're here, they still didn't qualify. So, huge chance to capitalize on the points lead, especially considering this race is double points. So, if you are a points rob contender, say this 11 or the 70, this could be huge. Anyways, after a few laps, Ling has cleared Sokolov, but Sokolov can come back at her. I think he may have given a shot to the 11. They're going to come up with the 91, who holds his line like you're supposed to. No, he's not. Maybe he's getting out of the way. Hello, Jesse Knotts. Contact. Okay, so Hodges isn't paying attention. Sokolov will have the lead, but a few laps later, they're going to come up on more lap traffic. That's Regazzoni and Devin Butler. And the fight for lead is going to continue. Ling got a huge run on the two of them. I think they checked up a little bit to get past the lap cars. Knotts looking low on Sokolov. Ling looking low on Knotts. 3 wide across the stripe as Sokolov leads that lap. But Ling's gonna take them both into turn 1 and take back the lead. And I think Sokolov is gonna lose more ground. So he went from first to third, and Knotts didn't go anywhere. And it's gonna get Mass first. Sokolov is gonna have a run on the 70 and clear Knotts. So good racing up front with the 3 cars that don't have damage and have brain cells. As you can see, a few laps later, Sokolov got passed again by Knotts, and 2 Team Rocket teammates making contact. Okay, so Captain and Knotts, I'm not sure if that was just a miscommunication, but they almost went head first into that wall. That's almost not exactly a good thing. Sokolov making a move on a Ling right now. This is for the lead, using lap traffic of Carson, that's the Thorn, and Jackson. And the 11 stuck behind the 48. Sokolov to the lead. Sokolov is under attack when skipping from Ling. Ling has the fastest car of the 3, I believe. However, she just can't pull away, and if there's a little bit of hesitation, the other 2 are going to attack. And, well, she runs down Sokolov again. Sokolov has that lap. And entering turn 1 and 2, Ling has the lead. Meanwhile, Adam Carson's going to kick off first green flag pit stops. And then a few laps later, Ling and Knotts will be pitting. We're on lap 57 as a Sokolov just hit the back of the Iron Hully, and that's going to take the 57 out of the race. So that's probably one of the fastest cars of the day goes out because of, well, not using the brakes. Good job, guys. Sokolov, maybe not how he wanted to, run today, but that's how the cookie crumbles. Meanwhile, the 64 and the 303 are fighting over third. Jake Bennett is as fast as them, only problem is a lap down, so he's just using the grab positions. Devin Butler, as they're approaching 64 and 303, is going to hold up the 5 and let the third and fourth place fight for third. Meanwhile, Johnson, Carson, and Thorn, they're currently sitting right outside the top 10, and they've been dueling this entire time. Yeah, this has been a nice little battle between the 3 of them. This, I think, for 11th, don't quote me on that. Carson and Jackson are swapping side by side. You can see the leader of Jesse Knox at the car behind him. So, good stuff up. Well, so we have more drivers that know how to use brain cells and not just drive through everything. We don't see that a lot, apparently, these days. Jackson takes the spot from Carson, and D. Thorne's gonna have a run. There comes Knox around the high side. Jackson, I think, didn't see the 70, or if he did, he was more worried about his own racing line. Don't think Team Rocket's gonna be happy about that, especially that Aling. Oh, never mind, Aling's stuck behind the 20. Anyways, Jackson not really getting out of the way, but he has the 13 to his inside, who I think either saw the opportunity or just threw it in there. Approaching Devin Butler, Carson can go 3 wide. Simpson is looking on the background. Simpson is about for position, at least to the 48. Butler moves to the racetrack at the 48. Jackson, and they're on the wall. So is Jesse Knox, the race leader in the wall. And if you thought Team Rocket was annoyed with these 3-lap cars, oh, imagine what it's gonna be now. Devin Butler just wiped out the race leader. All 3 will continue. Regazzoni's got a piece. All 3 will continue, but that 70 car is hurt. 4 cars are on the lead lap. Regazzoni's not on the pace. You can see they were up the front end off the 70 after another round of pit stops, but that car sounded like it was hurt on the restart, or when it was coming by. Knox does get a good start to try to get past Aling, as I am not surprised. Butler, you have a mirror for a reason. As you can see, Jesse Knox's damage is going to be slowly but surely overtaking her, as Casey James and Dolores Madrigal blow by her like she's not even there. She throws a late block in the 170 for some reason. But yeah, Jesse Knox's day has gone from bad to worse. Jake Bennett, if it wasn't for the fact that he drove through his it's not really his fault that he hit his employee. But that car, if he didn't have that front end damage, he'd be probably challenging for the lead. James Cathcart not paying attention is going to force a link up the racetrack, and Casey James will take the lead. So nice move made by the 303, bad move by the 15, and Aling I think just tried to chop off the 5 in case the 64 was coming, which she is. So Madrigal now going to take second. However, it's going to be the same scenario what happened earlier. Aling, faster car. She's going to run by the 64, and now, once they get into turn 1, he's going to set it in there and try to make as much ground as possible on the 303 of Casey James. Coming down the back straightaway, she's got to run side by side with the 303 by the time they enter turn 3. Jake Bennett being annoying again, and I think Dolores Madrigal is getting slightly annoyed, but Link back up front. This is a very commanding drive made by the 11. Brandy Thorne, I think was trying to navigate the 70 and accidentally chopped off the 303, and yes, Jesse Knox went from second to 1 lap down. Not a good run for her, but the congestion of lap cars means Dolores Madrigal is going to have a shot at second. Requise Hodges is holding the line for once. It's a miracle. This 303 would take second back, but pit stops happening. Sealing pits, then James and Bennett, and the last car to pen on the lap is obviously the 64 car. As you can see, Violing has, I think, has a 3-second lead over the 64. Meanwhile, Madrigal and James are now fighting for second. Side by side, no one around them this time to interfere, which is probably a good thing. It's getting kind of tiring of seeing cars, get held up for the race lead. Anyway, here's Jared Jackson. He is 30 miles per hour the pace. And this goes for a few of the cars. We know Requise Hodges is definitely slower. Regazzoni and Jackson are running comparable lap times. 48 holds up the 303, and that's a 30 mile per hour difference for you. However, Regazzoni will hold up Madrigal, and Casey James will take second back. Funny how things come around. Devin Butler, I think, got the memo that he got a visit to the steward's office for not paying attention and hit the wall trying to get out of the way. Letting pits again, lap 122. Then 303 a few laps later, and then the 64 a few laps later. Lap 1, you can see lap 126. Viola Ling has extended his lead, or her lead, over the other two. And yes, Jake Bennett is 4th and about to go 2 laps down. That's how dominant this 11 car is. Anyway, Baguette Regazzoni, she's exiting the pits here. She's not having a problem. Let's talk about her for a little bit. He, first non-conforming driver. We failed to now make that known at Chicago, so we apologize for that. He was scheduled to drive the 20 car at the beginning of this year. Rich Roy never announced it, but Regazzoni was supposed to be in this car no matter what. Then the Lara Myers fraud scandal case happened, and Chris Regazzoni, his brother, got in touch with the Ferrari team boss and said that, hey, give my sibling a shot. He did. Granted, they made contact, and Regazzoni went out early on in that race. However, Baguette Regazzoni will be running all the races Lara Myers was supposed to run. So I think they've gotten Ferrari's word. Aiden Jackson was in the 28 car this week. He failed to qualify. Expect Jackson the car for Britain, Gravis City, and Ohio. Meanwhile, Jarrett Jackson is having an engine problem. He we saw him pull out of the way, and the crew doesn't look ready. So Jarrett Jackson will go out of the race. Shame, really. Jackson's doing a good job. Masana hits the pit lane, however, I believe that's scheduled. It's scheduled. Other cars are pitting, and we're getting word that the 48's problem was he lost 4th gear, which is pretty much done. Casey James hits the pit lane, then followed by Dolores Madrigal. A Link pitted earlier, and you can see, a Link's running away with this. That's her teammate Everett Masana, who's running 7th and now 3 laps down. However, we would get a caution. Debris. We believe it came out of the 48 car. Wouldn't surprise me. I'm not sure. A lot of cars are pitting for some reason. I think just making sure they can make enough fuel. Okay, so Everett Masana stood down for a pit lane, and Brian Simpson wasn't expecting it. That's nice work, guys. Viola Ling coming to take the restart. 3 cars on the lead lap. Everyone else 2 laps down. That's probably annoying. Green flag. Ling leads the field quite nicely. See, everyone's getting away quite well, I think, except for the 20 and 91, which is kind of not really surprising at this rate. But Ling gets ahead of the lap traffic. James and Madrigal struggling with the 2 Sierra Motorsport cars. Carson's hit the pit lane. Nitolanga hit a flat tire. Complete Sargent, so if we're focusing on him, it can't be for anything good. There's been a lot of radio chatter that he hasn't exactly been too kind with letting people through. Honestly, I don't think he should be out there. And he is not paying attention. He just took another swim from Brian Simpson. And we can't play Simpson's radio chatter. It's the same as everyone else complaining about the 91. Jake Bennett, surprise, surprise, is as fast as the leaders, but that small front end damage he had to repair earlier is putting him 2 laps down. Casey James in 2nd, trying to run down Viola Ling. That is, are you kidding me? Requise Hodges has apparently a kink for hitting other drivers. Bennett pits. This is because of stop. Soon the 303 and 64 pit together. That's a surprise. 11 will pay a few laps later, as we got the 11 leading with 20 laps to go. And that should have been the final green flag pit stops of the race. Meanwhile, the 303 and 64 are fighting for, well, 2nd. Not really surprising. Here is Ryan Rickshaw. As we mentioned, his teammate failed to qualify for the US 500, which means Ryan Raver is probably not coming back to Team Star USA. Team Star USA usually has one rule, and it is if you're a full-time driver, make the US 500. So there's a good chance Cassandra Hendricks, who also failed to make the US 500, will be in the car next year. Oh, contact! Rickshaw and Cathart hard into the wall. And that was a violent impact, indeed. Regazzoni's exiting the pit lane. Catherine moves with the racetrack so Rickshaw can get past, and Rickshaw kind of just drives into the 20. I don't understand that. You saw here, Catherine moves up the racetrack to give room so Regazzoni can A, enter the track safely, and Rickshaw can get past him safely. I don't know why Rickshaw felt the need to drive through the 20 like that. here's the onboard of the 20. Even cuts the grass to make sure everyone has enough racing room. Big hits for Cathcart and Rickshaw. See, there's the two sliding cars as, yeah, probably for good reason. Okay, so Jamie, Jesse knocks his engines failed into caution. We must stress that Rickshaw did climb out of the car under his own power. That is just a precautionary trip to the hospital, so I don't think there's anything wrong with Rickshaw. He should be back next weekend. Oling reads the restart, not many laps to go. So, if Casey James has anything for Oling now, he's better take it, though Jake Bennett is once again getting annoying. And, I'm feeling there's gonna be a lot of angry people at the Ryan Motorsports camp at this 5, because that might have cost him the win. Madrigal gonna make the move on the inside of both of them, try to get second and put the 5 out of the way. And it looks like it's gonna work. They side, or technically they're 3 wide, because Bennett doesn't realize he's out of this race yet. I'm not sure why he's fighting them still. Madrigal going for second, but Casey James still has the momentum on the outside. Coming on the back straight. And James has the edge and will clear. Madrigal and Jake Bennett, for some reason, is making a swing at the 64. However, the 64 will shake the 5 and is going to try to run down Casey James for the race lead, or for second, as I think James is being hung up by Hodges. Yes, not a surprise. Madrigal run the outside, and Hodges throws a block for some reason and puts the 64 in the wall. Marquise Hodges is way out of his depth, and I think Madrigal, the usually calm, kind, and cool, nice-hearted Madrigal, just gave him the bird. And I'm not surprised. However, that's with 3 laps to go. This is the white flag lap. Viola Ling is the reigning champion, or is the champion from 2020. However, she failed to qualify for the US 500. This year, it's going to be different. Ling is going to take the points lead and win the US 500 in dominant fashion. Toyota had the most dominant car of the day, and it showed. Only 12 cars finished the race. It would have been 13 if Request didn't try to put Madrigal on the wall. Ormond, after having that flat tire, and made a nice comeback. I think that the crash has helped. Iannelli on debut, last to 6th, not bad. Sana and Simpson back from all the way from the back of the field to the front, not a bad run. Ivan Carson, good run for the Independence Trophy. Brianne Thorne, she needs this to help her title defense. She's having a torrid year. Regazzoni first start with Royal Inc., and probably only start for Royal Inc. this season. Okay, 11th, and Devin Butler rounds with the finishers, and that's a lot of DNFs. Yeah, and this is a double points race as well, so instead of your, standard 60 points, Violing has gotten a lot more, jumped to the top of the timetable, to the points tables. Masana's finish also put her second, not too far behind her teammate, while Marco has fallen to 5th due to not being here. Rich Roy has fallen from 5th to 11th, and Ryan Raber has now the 16th. We will see you next time as the series starts its 2-race Canadian tour at Mosport.